Swords and Sandal movies are back, and I'm all for it. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. My name is Dalal, and welcome to Popcorn and Soda, the show where we discuss all things movies, pop culture, and so much more. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for making me a small part of your day. Gladiator 2. What could I even say about this film? It's been one of my most anticipated films of the year. The film directed by Sir Ridley Scott, one of the greatest directors of all times, and it's a direct follow-up to one of the best Swords and Sandals, best movies of this millennium, with Gladiator 1, which starred Russell Crowe. We're back, baby. Swords and Sandal movies are back, and I am all for it. It's one of my favorite genres, whether it's Gladiator, Troy, Ben-Hur. I feel like it's one of those lost arts in which Hollywood's gone so much towards the comic book genre, the big blockbusters over the last 20, 25 years. And I think that there is a space for Swords and Sandals epic. I know we had Game of Thrones as well, and I think that kind of kept it there. It's not truly a Sword and Sandals kind of movie, but I think that it did have a lot of elements that kind of suffice that genre. So what did I think of Gladiator 2? So before we get into the things that I liked, the things that maybe didn't work for me, and who I would recommend this movie for, let's chat a little bit about the story. The movie stars Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn, the returning Connie Nielsen from Gladiator 1, and it follows the story of Paul Mescal, who, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, is the son of Maximus, who is played by the ever so talented Mr. Russell Crowe in the first Gladiator film. And it picks up, I think, 15, 20 years after the events of the first one, in which Paul Mescal is now a grown adult. He has a wife, and the Roman Empire has risen again, and it's got these two new emperors who are twin brothers who are now just wanting to take over pretty much the world. And their head army commander is played by Pedro Pascal. Yeah, so that's pretty much where the movie starts, where the Romans attack Paul Mescal's town, city, just to kind of take over. And from there, again, spoiler alert, they do kill his wife, and Paul is taken as captive. And that's where the story begins, in which Paul Mescal's character meets up with Denzel Washington, who is very Game of Thronesy, kind of a mix between Littlefinger and Lord Varys, where he wants to rise to the top. And to him, Paul Mescal's character is going to be what gets him there as being his champion in the Gladiator arena. So the movie kind of picks up from there, and as the movie goes along, you start getting loose ends and different types of connections to the original Gladiator, which, again, as I said, I love the first Gladiator. So, as always, let's start off with what I enjoyed about the movie. And this is going to be really kind of out there, but I loved the opening montage of this movie. It tells you the entire story of what's happened prior, as well as where the story's now going. It's like this painted art form way of showing characters from the first movie, and I thought that was so cool. It was literally it was pleasant to see, because you don't see that in movies as much. And in literally 2-3 minutes of storytelling, they were able to get you up to speed if you haven't seen the first Gladiator. So that's one thing that I really enjoyed. The second thing is the cast. This cast absolutely steals the show. Paul Mescal is amazing. Denzel's great. Pedro Pascal, amazing. Connie Nielsen, Joseph Quinn as one of the emperors. I forgot the name of the other gentleman. I believe his name is Fred. He was great as well in the film. So the cast really carries this movie, because these are all like bona fide superstars. And I think just them feeding off of each other throughout the movie is what really makes this movie work. The second thing that I loved is the setting. Again, I'm a sucker for sword and sandal films. And a movie like this really, really goes all in with the Gladiator Dome, the arena, the the town, Rome, the cinematography, the art direction. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. And I think that beautiful movie kind of immerses you into this world of Rome and of these massive scale gladiator battles, which I just thoroughly loved. Third thing that I really enjoyed about the movie is those gladiator battle scenes because they were violent, they made sense, they advanced the story. We see Paul Mescal's character throughout the movie become a leader within all the captives as well. I love that. I really, really did. I thought it was a very cool take on how they did it in Gladiator 1 and kind of improved on it. And a big shout out to Sir Ridley Scott for that because I think this is Sir Ridley Scott's like best movie since like The Martian. And that's not a knock. He's made amazing movies, but I think this one specifically is just such a joy to watch. Like I had a great time. I watched this in IMAX and seeing it in the big screen, just immersed into this world that he created. It felt like I've never left Rome from the first movie. So those are things that I liked. Things that I didn't like. I feel like the third act of this movie felt a little rushed and the stakes just weren't as high. The first two acts of this film do such a great job of getting you to a point where you're feeling like this movie's going to combust in that third act, where there's going to be something crazy that happens. There's going to be a big battle, a big fight. It kind of doesn't. It kind of like was like a dud in many ways. It just, bam, like just without getting into too much spoilers, it just happens and there's nothing too like climatic that happens. So I think that was a missed opportunity. I get it. You can't always have that crazy ending in every movie, especially like the emotional ending of Gladiator 1. I was a little underwhelmed with that ending. I'll say that. But I will say this, the final shot was a very amazing ending in terms of just the shot itself. I wasn't happy with the third act, but that final shot of the movie was really cool, emotional, and it was a nice throwback / what's to come in the future, if there ever is a Gladiator 3, who knows. But something that didn't click with me. The second thing, I wish the emperors in this movie who were described as these crazy tyrants, and again, circle back to the opening of the film, there's a little like 2-screen blurb about what's going on in the city, what's happened since the first Gladiator. And I think it just was so amazing how in like 2-3 minutes, bam, 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 you know what's going on. I feel like they were just kind of there in many scenes. They had such great performances in some of their highlight scenes, but I think they could have been utilized more. And something happens in the middle of the movie, which I won't get too much into, and then they kind of just, the story moves on. So I think there was a slight missed opportunity with the two emperors, who were these twin brothers who were kind of crazy, psycho, power raging people. I think there could have been definitely more of a utilization. The third thing is, for better or for worse, this movie was way too Game of Thronesy in that third act. And especially Denzel Washington's character. Like, I love Game of Thrones, but the way he progressed throughout the movie was almost like not realistic. But at the same time, it's this fantasy sword and sandal movie. So it may not have worked for me. I thought Denzel Washington's performance was great, but I just thought the story of his arc, I don't think there was a proper ending in regards to that. So who is this movie for? You guys know me. Art is in the eye of the beholder. Something that I like, you may not. And something you like, I may not. And that's perfectly okay, my friends. Art is subjective. Now, if you're a first-time tuner, tuning in, first time listening into this audio review, watching the video review, this is how I kind of review my movies. Is this a movie theater movie? Is this a streaming movie? Or is this like a rainy day movie in which you don't really know what to watch? You just want to throw something on in the background. You're half the time not really even paying attention. To me, I think this is in that sweet spot of a theatrical movie. But if you don't catch it in the theaters, I think this would be a great streaming movie as well, like on a Friday night, on a Saturday night. The reason why I think this would be a great theater movie is because of the big epic scale of this movie. There's nothing, no home theater, projectors, TV screens, surround sound that can replicate the quality of IMAX or even just your multiplex screening. There's just nothing. And a movie like that, which has such a large sword and sandal battles, these beautiful coliseums, these amazing costumes, I think it really needs to be experienced on the big screen. But I, I don't think this movie is going to be everyone's cup of tea because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this feels just like Gladiator 1. So that's why I still think you can watch this movie at home when it does come out on streaming and equally enjoy it. Because I thought it was a good movie. I really did. Now, is this going to crack my top 10 movies of the year? No, it's not. But I do think that for all things considered, I had a good time with this movie when I was watching it at the theater. And that's the most important thing for me is how I feel about the movie, how it makes me feel, right? Because like I always say, movies are two things, my friends. They're an investment. And the investment is that of your money and your time. And one of those things you can never get back. So when I'm in a theater, I judge a movie largely based on how I feel when I watched it. And not even in a theater, in general, anything. And I really enjoyed Gladiator 2. Now, what does this mean for future movies? Potentially, there could be a Gladiator 3. I read some rumblings online with Sir Ridley talking about that. But what I hope this does is it brings another resurgence of the swords and sandals genre into our collective world of films right now, because I think there is definitely a space for it. Like I thought this is a great movie. It just reminded me of the first Gladiator, Troy. I would love to see another movie set in this kind of universe, but with a completely different story. So I'm all for that. But most importantly, what did you guys think of this movie? So please comment below and do share your thoughts, because I would love to hear what you guys thought worked in Gladiator 2, what didn't work, and overall what your thoughts were. As always, friends, please remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell notification. I appreciate you all tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Popcorn and Soda.